All right. Hello, you guys, ladies, fellas. Welcome to the Football Frame of Mind podcast, man. I'm your host, Cameron. This is the other host, Brandon. Like I said, we are approaching 15,000 subscribers, man. We just start off with that. That is crazy, man.
Hmm.
That's how we started, man. So we love the attention that we getting. We like and appreciate all the conversations, man. But before we get into all of that, man, let's give our sponsors a shout out, man. Off the Ball Network, man. Some great guys over there. They have all the sports you could think of: wrestling, NASCAR, maybe even fishing if you're into that. They got that over there too. But awesome guys over there. They have a litany of great guys that have great takes. Um, and our group chat be popping, man. So so great opportunity, and we like being a part of their team. So, but Bet US is the next sponsor of this video of our podcast. One of the oldest sports books out there, man. I mean, gosh, any sport you want to bet on, man, they got it. Like I said, NASCAR, football, baseball, basketball, whatever you want, they got it, man. Take care of you, help you out, even if you got gambling issues, they help you out with that too. Surprisingly, so they got that. Anything you need, man, they will take care of you as far as the sports book, sports gambling, anything. So check them out in our description. We got a link in there, man. Great deal. Start you off with some free bets and go for what you know, man. Like I said, don't bet with your gut, bet with your heart. Might save you some money on the back end. But but yeah, man. So before we get in our topic for today, man, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, and like he said, we're really appreciative. You got to think we've been doing this like 6 months or so, so the growth has been pretty crazy over the last 2-3 months for sure. And man, we're just grateful for you guys. Before y'all do anything else, though, make sure to click that like button, leave some feedback, comment. If you're not subscribed, man, subscribe. Tons of content, pro content, college content. If you like shorts, got that, got everything. But he didn't touch yet on. If you guys maybe you don't like YouTube as much, we're on a lot of these other platforms as well: Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, all that good stuff. So maybe if you went in you at the gym, when you're driving around, if you want to pop it on, go right ahead and listen. There will be a link in the description for our Shopify as well. We have some merch now. We're going to continue to kind of keep trying to put out new stuff and see what you guys like. But you guys should definitely check out the channel. Check out those links in the description. I think you guys will really enjoy.
Yeah, man. Most definitely, man. Like I said, I couldn't have said that better myself, man. Like I said, man, check out the merch, man. Give us some feedback on what, some items maybe we should put in the store. You know, like I said, I see a lot of content creators out there with some really cool stuff in their store, man. So just give us some ideas, man, on how we can diversify our portfolio. Like that, big word, big word, big word, big word. Uh, but today we gonna get into some NFL recap and preview, and we're gonna start to mix our videos up a little bit as far as having college and pro on the same video because obviously college is winding down, and then we'll transition into as Josh Pate says the season. We'll transition into that, man. Got some transfer portal stuff. So we want to get into kind of start to have, a show with like topics and things like that, a better game plan. So but first off, let's get into this NFL, man. So man, so we got a whole lot of stuff going on, man. Some
Mhm.
storylines that people or not talking about, some good games first off though. But like I said, we get into week 13, man. So just recapping that. One game I want to talk about, man. first and foremost, man, is I want to talk about my Eagles and 49ers, man. All right. So not necessarily my Eagles, but they're my Eagles this year because they are my Super Bowl pick. So this game threw me for a loop, man. I was like, man, the Eagles gonna do what they do. I was expecting, man, I was just expecting them to win. I knew it would be tough because the 49ers are a really good team. You know what I'm saying? They had a little rough patch, but it seemed to be rounding back into shape. Obviously, Brock Purdy had 4 touchdowns. I mean, 300 plus. I mean, then you got Debo Samuel doing Debo Samuel things. I mean, the defense played lights out. Like, man, like crazy game to me, you know what I'm saying, to start off with. But like I said, I know we talked about the 49ers and the Eagles in the NFC Championship game picture. And, this doesn't look like, it's going to be an easy cakewalk as I thought it was going to be for the Eagles, man. They're going to have to fight, you know what I'm saying? And they still got to win the division. They still got the Cowboys on their heels. So, I don't know, man. I just think when I look at the 49ers, they had a great game plan. I mean, they used everybody. It seemed like they used Debo, they used Kittle, they used McCaffrey, they used them all. You know what I'm saying? So that seems like the attack that they need to do to win. Use everybody. You know what I'm saying? And for the Eagles, in my opinion, I think their defense is really good. I just feel like they got blitzed by everybody. Like they attacked with all their weapons, so the Eagles defense really didn't have a chance to catch their breath, it seemed like. But if we're talking Jalen Hurts, he cannot pass 45 times. That's a no. That's a
Mm-hmm.
recipe for disaster every week if he got over 45 pass attempts. Now I get it. The game was getting out of hand and you got to pass to try to get back into it. But that's a recipe for disaster because he's
Mm-hmm.
not he's a better passer than he was in his Alabama, Oklahoma days. But for them to succeed, they gotta balance it out, man. He can't beat you with his arm like that. You know what I'm saying? Not yet, anyway. And 45 is a lot. But like I said, you bake in the fact that the game was getting out of hand a little bit. So he had to kind of pass to get him back into it. But never should he have 45 passing attempts, man. I just don't agree with that. But looking at the numbers, he's the leading rusher for the game. Where's the running backs? Where's Swift? Where are these other guys? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way he should be passing 45 times and the leading rusher. Like, 20 yards? Like, nah. So, got to get that together. But it was a crazy game to me, man. Like I said, shocked me. Like, one of those games, like, whoa, wait a minute. It wasn't supposed to happen. So,
Mm-hmm.
but they just got blitzed, man, and that's kind of what happens, man. Sometimes that's how you win games. You got to start out fast because I think if you let the Eagles kind of marinate in the game, um, they start to just wear on you, man, like up front and like they mix everything up. So I think that's how the 49ers can probably win the Super Bowl if they start blitzing teams like they did with the Eagles, man. So
Sure.
but what you think, man? What do you think about this game, man?
Well, I mean, I've been on the not the bandwagon, but I've been talking about the 49ers since the offseason. The 49ers are probably the next closest team depth wise that can compete with Philadelphia just from a defensive standpoint. I think they've got more weapons on offense. But I mean, man, I didn't expect the defense to hold them like that. But it's like they took the running game out of it and they forced them to have to compete with them and have to try to score points quick. And they just couldn't. The Eagles' offense works really well when they can use their running backs, and Hurts can run every once in a while, but they have their running backs involved in the pass game. But man, Brock Purdy had a really good game, and it finally seems
Mm.
like, man, if this is potentially what this offense is going to be playing like in January, the Eagles have got something to worry about for sure. You should not be only dropping 19 points in a game like this. You have to be able to get it together. And the fact that the 49ers dropped a 42 bomb on them, that's concerning. Not enough to where the red alarm's going off, but yeah, you need to figure this out because we're almost halfway through December and the playoffs are right there, bro. And if you don't figure that out now, that's not going to be too good when it comes playoff time. Playoffs mean anything goes. And if the 49ers are playing like this, they definitely are a favorite to come out of the NFC for sure.
Yeah, and I mean another thing is the Eagles got blitzed at home too. Like they were at home
Mm-hmm.
for this game.
Took
So
them out of it. Took the
yeah,
crowd, everything out of it. Yeah.
yeah. So when you look at, a game like this, the 49ers don't fear playing on the road. And that was one of my things going into this game. I was like, if the Eagles had home field advantage in this matchup, like, hypothetically in the NFC Championship game, if they were at home, I would give them the edge. But no, not after that one. I don't think so. But Debo did say after the game last year, he was like if Brock Purdy would have, I think he didn't play or he got knocked out the game or something like that.
He got hurt early on.
Yeah, so he was like if he played, the game would have been a lot closer. Well, he was right. He has some facts with that, so we'll see. I don't know. Uh, but what other game you got, man? You want to recap?
Man, there are, and we're not gonna go into like all of them. Although me and him could talk about football all day and all night. If y'all don't know this already,
Yeah.
but man, a game that's kind of interesting to me and a little concerning is Chiefs and Packers. Man,
Yeah, yeah,
man,
yeah,
Jordan
man.
Love, man, throws for over 250 yards, doesn't turn the ball over, throws 3 touchdowns. And Mahomes, man, looked a little like the Packers really came to play, man. That defense kept them in the game the entire game, and man, when they needed it, Jordan Love put the team on his back, and he did what he had to do. Like I haven't been the biggest guy for Jordan Love, but I've definitely seen his progression, especially in the last month or so. He's progressing quite well, and the fact that obviously it was in Lambeau, but anytime you can beat Kansas City home or away, that's impressive. Especially the fact that
Yeah,
you held Patrick Mahomes to under 21 points, and your quarterback played perfect. He didn't have to throw for 500 yards, man. He threw for 267, really good completion percentage, and got the ball in the end zone 3 times. You can't ask for much less. And for the Chiefs, get back to the drawing board. I mean, they did really good running the ball. Pacheco averaged he had a really good average per carry, 110 yards. He had a touchdown, but it just seemed like the pass game wasn't consistent and just potent and deadly like it usually is. So, I mean, whatever that defense had dialed in, man, it worked for sure because they contained this offense.
yeah, man. I'm looking at these numbers, man. I'm just like, man, Jordan Love with 3 touchdown passes, man, is showing a
Impressive.
really, yeah, showing a really maturation process. But I think we talked about this earlier, like in the season, like we was like the Packers are in a good spot because um who's their coach? I forgot.
LaFleur.
LaFleur, right? So LaFleur with Aaron Rodgers was kind of butting heads all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Aaron Rodgers has his way of doing things. But I felt coming into it that Jordan Love would be more receptive of what LaFleur was talking about because
Mm-hmm.
this is his guy. He can mold him and how he wants him to play without too much, backlash. So the
Mm-hmm.
fact that, you looking at, the game, this is kind of the game you wanted to see him play. You know what I'm saying? I thought AJ Dillon with his 73 yards was really, really important,
Mm-hmm.
because it allowed Jordan Love to use play action a lot rather than just him
Mm-hmm.
passing. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So, so I'm not surprised that the Packers won. I'm not surprised because I feel like, they're learning how to play. And with them being 500, a wild card isn't too far out of the realm of possibility. It's not that far. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
definitely still there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? 500 at this point, you know what I'm saying? If you string some wins together, you could really sneak into the playoffs. And I like Jordan Love. You know, I don't know how the playoffs will be for him because obviously a different beast, but it's a one game scenario. So if he plays good that first playoff round, you never know what could happen. That's kind of how it goes, you know. But the more
True.
concerning thing is the Chiefs, man. I mean, going through, basic training in the military, we had a conversation, me and my drill sergeant, about Mahomes signing this $500 million deal, right? And I was like, it's cool now, you know, big money quarterback doing what he do, right? But I'm looking bigger picture. Like once Tyreek Hill is needs some money, or Kelsey needs some money.
Hmm.
Everybody who was a part of the championship team that actually contributed to them winning, they're gonna want to get paid. So you're not gonna have a lot of money going to everybody. And now
Hmm.
you kind of see what I was talking about. You know, it's not looking good, man. And not I don't agree with Stephen A that everybody not scared of the Chiefs anymore. I just think it's more of a fact that now that people got to get paid, it's time to add some more pieces.
Hmm.
And it's like Pachinko is the running back. Like
Yep.
he's the guy, right? And I like the way he runs. It's no nonsense, straight downhill, right? But as far as passing the ball, they don't have many weapons, man. I mean, Kadarius Tony is kind of up and down. And I think he's more of a threat special teams than anything. But the concerning part is that I don't think Mahomes has the weapons to really make a run this year.
He doesn't have
You
a wide
got
receiver one.
Yeah, you got Kelsey, right? He's gonna be there.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's it. You know what I'm saying? And he has some extracurricular things going on right now with Taylor Swift. So, yeah, he's invested. I'm not saying he's not an invested player or whatever, but I'm saying over the grand scheme of things, you can take Travis Kelsey out. He's not going to beat you the whole game to the point
Hmm.
where you could just lose the game. You can bracket him, double coverage him. You know what I'm saying? Hell, you could run at him all day. You know what I'm saying? And on, you know what I'm saying? Like you can have blitzers on him all day. Almost chip him, whatever, run into him like whatever, but you could take him out of the game and you kind of see what it was. I mean, he had 81 yards, but four receptions. You know what I'm saying? I would love to know how much he was targeted because I'm pretty sure it
Hmm.
was a lot. You know what I'm saying? Given, how much they need him right now. But my point is, they are in trouble and, they really don't have no weapons for real on offense to really make you want to respect them. And I feel like even though, they are the AFC darling and people think that the AFC goes through them, that's not necessarily true. Not this year. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
And usually it would have to go through Arrowhead or whatever their stadium is called now. But now I don't think so. I don't think so. So that's the most concerning point to me about this game. The Chiefs. Like I mean, they're 8-4 right now, which I don't think either of us thought they would be at this point. You know what I'm saying? I thought at least two losses at this point, maybe, because I think we both picked Detroit to kind of be
Hmm.
one, at least
Yeah,
early, because like
we did.
Detroit, yeah, Detroit's coming in hot at the beginning of the season, but four losses, man, including one to the Denver Broncos, who completely we didn't even see that coming. It's just not looking good, man. And I mean, Mahomes has really been pedestrian lately. Now, I was under the impression that maybe they're just bored and they're ready for the playoffs because they've been in the playoffs with deep playoff runs the last what 3, 4 years in a row. So
Mm-hmm.
I some teams be bored. They don't play that well, and then they tighten up as we get later into the season. But this is not that. This is a team
No.
that's like trying to figure things out offensively on the fly, and it's because they don't have no weapons, man. So I don't know, but bigger picture, the Chiefs are in trouble, man. They in
Mm-hmm.
trouble. So one more game, I guess one more game if you had a game that you
Ooh,
wanted to talk about.
yeah. I
Uh
got one more game.
mm,
It's not big power, but man, I gotta give love to my rookie of the year prediction, man. We got Denver and Houston, and CJ Stroud continues to ball out, man. I thought Denver was on a really good roll. They had won about 5 or 6 in a row, and now the old Russell Wilson shows his head again with 3 interceptions. Dude, Stroud throws for almost 300 yards, doesn't turn the ball over. Tank Dell goes out early, which really hurts him. He's out for the season.
yeah, I
That's going
did
to
see
hurt
that.
that
Yeah.
offense. But Nico Collins steps up and catches almost 200 yards on 9 receptions. And that offense, man, very explosive. And they're very they're 7-5 right now. I mean,
Well, I mean, look, we said the AFC South was going to be something serious this year. I gave the nod to Jacksonville because I thought they had the best quarterback in the division. But now that, Trevor Lawrence's injury concern is like he might not he might not be playing for a while. So, um the Texans got a chance to win this division, man. And and with them, if they win it, they will get a home playoff game and a wild card. Just because. So hey, you never know, man. And obviously, you look at C.J. Stroud, and like I said, you said that he was the most pro ready, and that's what everybody else was saying as well. I wasn't necessarily on that train because I'm like I would say Ohio State like non-believer in their quarterbacks because there's not really many good ones. You know what I'm saying? Especially high in the draft like that. So, but he's ready, man, and he just looks ready. Like it looks like everything slowed down for him. And
mm-hmm,
the fact that you lose Tank Dell and you got Nico Collins, right, shows me that they really good. But I want to talk about the Houston Texans defense though. Like I told you, man, getting CJ Stroud and Will Anderson in the first round was the perfect setup for them for the future because you got two cornerstone players in one year. Usually you would have to draft one or the other. But the fact that you got two cornerstone players to start with, to start the rebuild process was perfect, man. And Will Anderson is looking like defensive rookie of the year. Like he's looking good, like really good. So the fact that he got after Russell Wilson a few times, man, he had one of those games. It's like, hey, I'm in the NFL now. You gotta
mm-hmm,
recognize me. You know what I'm saying? So, um, like I said, I like Denver. You know what I'm saying? And they're not out of the picture either at 6-6. With the Chiefs, up and down. And with them being 6-6, that looks really good right now. You know what I'm saying? Tough loss, obviously, but Russell Wilson uncharacteristic is like not a turnover machine. Like if you look over his career, he really takes good care of the football. Like so the fact that he's got 3 interceptions in this game was kind of uncharacteristic of him, looking at his career as a total. But I think it's easy to fix, man. I don't like Cameron Sutton being the leading receiver. I think you got to get
mm-hmm.
Jerry Judy the ball. Um, I don't like that at all. I think Jerry Judy, has to get the ball a little bit more. But that's not saying that he tried to force Jerry Judy the ball, and that's where the interceptions came from. But I think Jerry Judy has to make his presence felt a little bit more, especially if they're going to make a playoff run. He's got to demand the ball a little bit more. But we'll see, man. But the Texans winning this game puts them in prime position for a playoff push.
They're only like a game back.
Yeah, and they can win. They can win the division too, because like I said,
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Lawrence is hurt, man. So, but one game I want to get your take on, man, before we move into the preview, is your Patriots, man. I have to get your take on what you see, what you think, what's gonna happen. I gotta see moving forward, man. So
So
let's fill everybody in before we get into it. Let's fill everybody in on the game. So, all right. So this game was between the Chargers and the Patriots, right? And surprisingly, this was a 50 score, 60 to 0, 6-0, I mean. So, I gotta get your take on it, man. I mean, we're looking at this game, and my take on it before we get into yours is the Patriots defense seemed like they were playing pretty good. I mean, you hold Eckler to 14 carries and 18 yards, which is really bad. And you hold Keenan Allen, who's really good, like the leading receiver in receptions at like 100 already, um, to 58 yards. I mean, Herbert's dealing with a hand issue, which we talked about in a few episodes ago, that's kind of affecting his game a little bit. But you hold him to 200, you know what I'm saying, just north of 200. So defensively, I don't think this team is bad. I just think offensively they just don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, you start Zappy, who I mean, I like Zap. I do. I'm a supporter of Alabama players, but I mean, if you're not getting the job done, you're not getting the job done, man. I thought them benching Mac Jones was interesting, but you got to get a spark somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, as an Alabama player supporter, I don't ever want to see a quarterback get benched. But I mean, you gotta go somewhere, man. And I mean, Devontae Parker with 4 catches for 64 was pretty good, man. And then Zeke even had a plus carry to rush ratio. So I mean, I don't know, man. I just think it's not looking good, man. But the Chargers have been the disappointment of the league for me. You know what I'm saying? Because
oh yeah.
I think we picked them to at least get a playoff berth. You know what I'm saying? Because we felt like they would be behind the Chiefs at least, but would sneak into the playoffs. So the fact that they're 5-7 at this point just is mind boggling to me. But like I said, we already talked about that though, because you felt like Coach Staley needs to go. And I felt like he needs to go. Um, but I didn't know he was that bad. The guy is an idiot, man. Like some of the stuff he does,
I've been saying this.
like he just is not. He's an idiot to me, man. Like I just don't know how you mess up a team this good. But that's my take on it. But let's get your take on it, man. Let's see what you
Okay,
think.
so I'm gonna touch base on the Chargers really quick. There's not a whole lot to say. I've been saying this since we started this channel. He needs to go. I'm sorry. There's no way the Chargers have a top 5 loaded roster in the league. They're loaded. Their offense is talented. Their defense is a lot of star players. There's no way. There's just no way this team should be sitting at 5 wins right now. Realistically, they should be sitting probably at least with the opposite record, at least 7-5, 7-8 wins at least minimum. I mean, Herbert is having hand issues, but it's not going to go the way they need to. The Raiders shouldn't have even been in consideration to even be in second place or even anywhere near that. And especially the Chargers should be in second place. The coach needs to go. It's just there's no excuse. Now The, there's not a whole lot I'm gonna say about this situation. Defense has never been an issue, man. We've been having this conversation for a long time. When you got guys like Matt Judon and you got J.C. Jackson and a bunch of these other guys on defense, man, they're not gonna slip up too much. But our offense is abysmal. I don't know if I agree with them benching him. I understand you want to get a spark somewhere. Honestly, just play Malik Cunningham. Let get some fresh blood in there, playing a different kind of offense. I'm gonna be honest with you. We should be drafting a quarterback this year. If you can get your hands on Caleb Williams, you draft Caleb Williams. If you can get your hands on Drake May, you take a chance on Drake May. There's a lot of things circling with Bill Belichick. I know he just signed an extension recently, and they're talking about him trying to go somewhere else. I don't know. But if I'm counting on Bill, Bill's going to be there. You need a quarterback.
I agree.
Your offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien, cannot make lemonade without lemons, and he ain't got no lemons right now at all. He just got an empty pitcher and water. He ain't got no lemonade. No disrespect to Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones, but it's not going to work. You
No,
need somebody that, with minimal weapons, can at least do something. I don't know what we're going to do the rest of the season, man. I don't know if you're tanking. Are you trying to get the number one pick? Because at this point, they've got more losses than Arizona has. So they're right in line to maybe fall into that freaking spot. And it sucks, man. It definitely sucks. It's a much different conversation than we were having 5 years ago. But
yeah,
yeah, man, I don't think Bill O'Brien is the problem. I think he can only do so much with what quarterback play he has. So yeah, I'm hoping they figure it out, but I'm definitely expecting New England to be taking a quarterback at the big top of the draft this year. If they don't, I'd be very, very surprised for sure.
I'm surprised that they are 2-10 as well, man. I don't know. Like I said, I would never say to fire Bill Belichick because I feel like he's earned the right to right the ship. I feel like he's earned the right to do it. You know what I'm saying? At least if you're Robert Kraft, give him the rest of the season to just figure it out. And then hey, we go into the off season and you figure it out at quarterback. Like, is Mac Jones the way? Because I mean, he looked good his rookie season. Even year two was okay. Started out okay. So it's like, what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? But I mean, Caleb Williams, yeah, but I don't think he's the guy.
No, not for Bill, but taking somebody at the
You
top
know
of the.
what? I don't think they have time for a project player. So I'm not gonna
No,
say
they need a
like,
guy who's pro ready.
yeah. So I would say Caleb Williams is obviously the odds-on favorite to go first overall. So if you got a chance to get him, I'd say get him. But in terms of what they looking for and what Bill O'Brien is good at working with, I would look at somebody that's in an offense like that. You
Very,
know, I can't really say that Drake May is a fit, but I think he might be the best fit for what they want to do. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
Somebody that can spin it, you know what I'm saying, and hasn't necessarily won with all the 5-star talent either. And then I think, yeah, Penix is good, but I would pick your boy Jaden Daniels, dog. I would. And not just because, he might win the Heisman, but I just feel like you need a spark.
Yeah,
And
you
what
need
he can
somebody who's a self starter.
yeah, the person that's gonna give you an extension of the run game with his legs. You know what I'm saying? Not saying Caleb Williams can't run, but like not explosive like Jay Daniels is. I feel like,
Mm.
yeah, I get it. It might be a high pick and it might be risky, but I feel like, man, he's played against some of the best defenses there is. You know, I can't say the same for Caleb Williams. I can't say the same for Penix. But I feel like his ability to play against these defenses and have them completely flustered with his aerial attack and his legs. Just fits. It's like a new something new. Like I said, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
y'all went through Drew Bledsoe, prototypical pocket passer, and that was the times back then. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what you really had to go with. And then you had Tom Brady, prototypical drop back passer, right? But then you got Mac Jones, the same type of guy. And like I said, I'm a supporter of Bama Dukes, but times have changed. And the way the defenses are getting after quarterbacks, you can't just stand there. You know what I'm
Nope.
saying? You got to get up out of there sometimes. And sometimes it's better plays when you run. So,
Mm-hmm.
I just think, man, it's time to do something different. And I would say give Belichick one more year to kind of right the ship. You know what I'm saying? He got some weapons. It's not like they don't have any weapons. They do. It's just you got to find a way to get them the ball. And I feel like a quarterback with dual threat ability would help the Patriots a lot more than a pocket passer
Yeah.
because I just think you just need a different look, man. I think if a defense had to commit somebody else to watch for Mac Jones running, it will open up a lot more in the passing game if you ask me. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, I just think it's time to do something different, man. But but that was the recap, man. Let's get into this preview, man. Uh, really interested to see what you thought about the Patriots, man. I've been holding that question in. I thought they would kind of get the ship together, but nah.
Yeah.
But but all right, we get this week 14 preview, man. So uh I'll start with my Ravens, man. I think we had a bye week this week, so everybody's kind of getting healthy and things like that, right? So, but my Ravens are 9-3, man. I'm excited about this, man. I am ecstatic. We are right where we need to be. We got the Rams coming in, um, and the Rams are 6-6. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna make the playoffs. They might be like a low lottery pick in terms of like if we're talking basketball and draft picks. I think they won't make the playoffs, so they'll be like one of those first last teams out of the race. But 6-6, man,
Mhm.
anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you string some games together. And the extra game that they have, now could help them. But I think my Ravens got this game, man. Like I said, the Ravens have a Super Bowl defense, and the only reason I didn't pick them to win the Super Bowl is because of the offense. And
Mhm.
I just like the Dolphins offense more than I like their defense, man. And that's just it, but as a fan of the team, I like what I see, man. I think Lamar Jackson had a time to get healthy. And if I look at the standings right now, I like where we are. All right. I think we are slam dunk to win the AFC North. So that's already in my mind. I think everybody in our division is suffering from quarterback issues. I mean, you got Burrow out for the season, uh, Watson out for the season, and they got Mitchell Trubisky starting with the Steelers. So quarterback issue, yes. So I just think we're good as far as the division is concerned. So now we move to what? Home field advantage. So, okay. What's up, man? You all right? Yeah. Beat it, dude. Okay. Okay. But anyway, we move into the home field advantage, man, and we got a good shot at it. I mean, right now I think we're tied for second with the Dolphins. So 9-3. I like it. I like our chances, man. So what you think, man? You think I got fool's gold? or you think?
No, I mean, hey, I mean, I'll go back to what we were talking about earlier with the AFC being open. I think the AFC is wide open, and I don't think it runs through Arrowhead at all.
Nah,
I think
I
it's
don't.
honestly, man, if I'm just thinking about it, like if I'm thinking of two teams that like, 9 times out of 10 going to be coming out of the AFC, Kansas City isn't one of them.
Mm-mm.
It's between Miami and Baltimore for sure. Nothing against
Mm-mm.
Kansas City, but until they can get wet, like get something together on offense, Miami's got the most prolific offense in the league right now, and Baltimore's got a top 3 unit on defense with Lamar Jackson not playing a whole lot of turnover football. So I mean, hey, and they're able to score points. It'll definitely be interesting to say the least.
I agree, man. I agree. Dude, get out. uh, but I misspoke about the Texans, man. Getting into the playoffs, man. I just caught a glimpse of the standings, and the Texans, they're 7-5, but the Colts are too.
Yeah. They're
So
both only like a game back in the division. They're right there. Jacksonville's 8-4.
yeah, so you know, I think they can make the playoffs, but the Colts is like right there too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what's going on in Indianapolis, but shoot, Minshew look like he doing his thing, man.
He's trying to get paid, bro.
Yeah, I see. I see, man. So I don't know, dog. That's a tough division, man. But getting back into the the preview, 'cause like I said, we could talk about college, we could talk about football all day. But all right, this is your game right here. This is your game, man. So the Saints against the Panthers, man. What are we gonna make of this game, man? I mean, you got the Panthers who are 1-11, and we got your Saints, man, who are five and
Five and
seven.
seven.
Now I'm looking at the standings right now, and this is just as ugly as it was a few years ago. Uh, I don't know who's gonna win this division, man. Falcons 6-6. Y'all 5-7. The Bucks are 5-7, and the Panthers have already been eliminated. So,
Yeah.
it's an ugly division, man. So what's your take on this game, man? What are we looking for? The Saints should obviously win this game, but Derek Carr is not who I thought he was.
No, I think I fooled both of us to be honest with you. But I don't think he's playing. I think Jameis is starting because I think he still had Carr in protocol, huh?
Yeah, that's what I was reading. Just reading on my phone. He's still in the protocol, so I don't know, man. I don't know. I
This
don't
is
know.
the thing with
This season
this is
for
the
the
thing with the
Panthers.
Saints.
Hey, okay. You gotta get out. Out. Dude, dude, stop, man. Dude. Man, trying to catch a toddler is really hard. Come here. Okay. All I'm asking you to do is just turn it down. I don't care if you're in here, just turn it down. All right, so the
Ooh.
Saints, the Saints and Panthers, right? So I don't know. Like I said, we just picked. Well, I picked the Panthers to be the surprise team, and I don't think my prediction went right at all because not only are they one of the league's worst teams, Frank Reich's no longer there.
Dude,
so
that's a talk in itself, man. That
so
shouldn't have happened.
So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to expect, man. I don't even know. I like I said, as a Bama player supporter, I don't know, man. I mean, I just want Bryce to like get through this season healthy. so they can't blame him for being hurt and all of that. So I don't know where they're
Mhm.
gonna go, but I just hope that they figure it out, man, what they want to do because this team needs some help. Like they need some help, like some real help. So, but as far as your Saints, man, I mean, with Jameis starting, man, what kind of game you think, man? Because I hate for them to lose this game, bro. Because
I
I don't want to
so
lose.
so my take on is obviously they are the favorite to win, but we're gonna have another abysmal offensive discussion. But as long as you have Pete Carmichael calling plays and Dennis Allen running, any game can. Uh, this is the thing. The Saints 9 times out of 10 will win this game just because they're a better team overall.
Yeah.
But the scariest thing is playing a team that has absolutely nothing to lose. They have no head coach. They have like one win on the year. They have nothing to lose. They have talent. They need a lot of help, but they have talent. And
I agree.
yeah, I could see something stupid happening. Yes, because team that has nothing to lose, you always
Okay.
come out of nowhere. Carolina's very bad. Me and you had a talk on the side. I don't think Frank Reich should have been fired. I think that was kind
Yeah.
of unlawful and just uncalled for. But that's a discussion for another day. But in regards to this game, the Panthers could creep up, like jump on the Saints early. The Saints can't score points at all. They have to rely on their defense to get points at this point. But if I'm gonna go with my gun, I'm gonna go Saints. But I expect some changes in the offseason from the head coaching position, especially if they don't make playoffs. You're probably going to be looking at a new head coach and a new offensive coordinator for sure. You're probably going to have a whole new staff if they somehow lose it all.
Okay. Okay. I can see that. I can see that. I just I don't know, man. The Panthers, like I expected the Saints to kind of run away with it.
We both
Just
did.
my opinion, because I thought they had the best quarterback in the division, and I thought that would be the deciding factor. And y'all defense is pretty good too. So, uh, I don't know, man. It surprised me. It surprised me what this division looked like right now. Like the Falcons
Mhm.
are in first place right now. And for a while I thought they weren't gonna do anything. Then the Bucks was good. And shout out to Mike Evans, man, for being solid for his whole career, man. The man got 10,000 receiving yards, man. If you don't think he a Hall of Famer, y'all smoking something. Like, dude is nasty, man. Like, he gonna he gonna finish his career with at least 1,000 catches and 10,000 receiving yards and maybe 100 touchdowns. Like,
Mhm.
it's dudes in the Hall of Fame that don't have that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I think he's on a first ballot track right now. And so shout out to Mike Evans, man, because he been solid, solid. So
Yeah.
you got any games you want to talk about this week?
I mean, if I'm gonna touch base on, I think this is like our third game we're talking about, and I guess then we could transition. But I mean, I think the biggest matchup of the weekend is a Sunday night football, man. Philly at Dallas. Philly's sitting at
Yeah,
10-2. Dallas is sitting at 9-3. Man, big divisional matchup, and man, this could have big implications on the NFC as a whole, especially if Dallas finds a way to win this game. The Eagles could find themselves having to play in the first round for sure if they drop a game like this just off of like win losses. I think it's a really good matchup. I think Dallas matches up really well with Philly, although I don't see Philadelphia dropping two in a row, especially not dropping the second one to Dallas, but it is away at Dallas. This game could go either way, man. A lot of star power, a lot of talent.
agreed.
What do you think?
Well, like I said, I gotta keep mentioning Eagles are a part of my Super Bowl pick. So right now I'm looking good. So I need them to win this game to just kind of just end all the tiebreaker situations. So I need them to win this game. But man, Dak's playing pretty good, man. But I don't think Dallas wins this game, man. I think the Eagles getting embarrassed by the 49ers. They're gonna come out playing pretty mad, man. And I
Mm-hmm.
think they're gonna stick them with the run because I don't think they ran enough in this last game. So I think they're gonna mix it up, and I don't think Jalen Hurts is gonna have 45 pass attempts. Don't think that at all. So I think they're gonna mix it up and really kind of keep Dallas off kilter a little bit. And I think they keep the ball away from Dak a little bit. And I think he gonna if Dallas was to win this game, they're gonna have to start like the 49ers did, like fast.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they let the Eagles just wear on them and wear on them, this game is gonna get away from them, and they're not gonna have enough possessions to really make it happen. So I think the Eagles win it and kind of put a stranglehold on the NFC North, man, or NFC East. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah. So that's what I got.
Cool.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Let me let this dog out. Oh, almost fell, bro. Almost fell. Put down the outtake.
Put caught it in 4K, bro.
Huh?
Caught it in 4K.
All right, man. That's the outtake. Almost fell, man. But nah, man, y'all would have had a laugh. That would have definitely been cut out.
Bloopers.
Right, bloopers, man. So, like I said, we wanna, like I said, this is our probably gonna be like our weekly show. It's something we're gonna do. So we're gonna probably start off with the NFL because that's like the season that's still going. But we're gonna get into some college, man. We obviously reacted to the college football playoff rankings. Through our shorts. So if you want to look at our shorts, man, I'm obviously wearing one of the teams. I'm excited. We got in there, man. But just wanted to get your take on it, man. Like this could be our official reaction to it, the college football rankings, man. So um I'll let you start. I'll let you start because I can.
Man, so let's just address the white elephant in the room that everybody's been talking about, including Mr. Desmond Howard, with some very controversial comments in regards to Florida State not making it. Uh, man, I mean, I called that Bama could beat Georgia, and it happened. So that didn't completely surprise me. What surprised me was they found a way to take an undefeated team out of the playoffs. Obviously, you guys know Jordan Travis had a really bad injury, but man, like you can't deny, like every team in this, like everybody had like a close loss. Bama had close losses or close. Washington, all of them did. But man, I was not expecting Florida State to get shaft like that at all. And I mean, obviously they were gonna put if they were gonna put Alabama in, they were gonna have to put Texas in. Texas didn't lose
Okay.
another game besides the other game they lost, and then they have the win advantage over Alabama. So I mean, I wasn't mainly surprised by Georgia because I kind of felt like even in the beginning of the season, I didn't think they were gonna win it again. I think I predicted them to be a little bit worse, but it falls into my prediction that like I just didn't think they had it, especially with the role that you guys have been on. I just don't think they were playing on the same level or progressing the exact same way. So
Yeah.
that didn't surprise me. But the fact that the committee found a way to screw Florida State out of a berth, like, come on, I understand they're starting quarterbacks out, but dude, playoffs are playoffs. College football, like NFL doesn't matter. Like playoffs are playoffs. Give them a chance to play, man. They won the conference. They went undefeated. They proved that they deserve to be there. Uh, but man, we got some really good matchups. But that was the biggest bombshell that I don't think anybody saw coming at all. I think more than likely, people thought that Alabama was going to get just barely scooted out because Texas had the win advantage and that Florida State was going to scoot in there and still be in, but not what everybody expected for sure.
Yeah, man. So as you guys know, I am the Bama fan of the podcast. So uh I'm excited. I'm glad we got in, man. Because I felt like you can't put Texas in without putting us in, even though they beat us head to head. So coming into it, like going probably that evening after we beat Georgia, I was thinking like, okay, we beat Georgia, who's been the number one team for the last 2 years, 3 years, 29 wins in a row, and we stopped them, right? So they was like college football's final boss in a sense, right? So we took them out. So I was like, okay, it's a good chance that we can get in. So then I started thinking about, then I watched the ACC championship game. And I started thinking about, Florida State's game against Northern Alabama. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, that didn't look good. But I was like, okay, look, they trying to figure it out. Give them a chance to do that. So we get to the ACC championship game, and I'm like, bruh, Louisville is like, this game is ugly. Like, this is an
Mm-hmm.
ugly game. And going into it, even though I'm a Bama fan, I was like, okay, they won, so the committee might do it. But then later that night, I'm thinking they don't have the stones to keep out undefeated team. They're not gonna do it. They gonna
Mm-hmm.
keep us out and try to spin it like, well, Florida State's undefeated. So
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna put them in, and then Texas is probably gonna get in because they beat us. So I'm thinking, all right, whatever. Then as you start reading Twitter and you start reading some of the news clippings, it started to come out like, man, Bama could really get in this thing and they could keep out Florida State. So my personal take after gathering all the information was, I'm like, okay, Bama knocked off Georgia and we got a crazy strength of schedule. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? We've been on a hot streak and we ain't lost in conference. So all
Mm-hmm.
of that into what it is made us one of the four best teams, right? So now I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at everybody else's case. So Michigan's getting in. Washington's getting in.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, okay, these two cases, these three teams, because that's all it really was. Georgia couldn't get
Mm-hmm.
in because they don't have a conference championship. Now they might composite wise, they might be one of the four best teams, but we knocked them off. So now
Mm-hmm.
it's us, it's Florida State, and it's Texas. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think the Big 12 was that good, but
Mm-hmm.
they beat us. So it's like, okay, you gotta put them in, right? They have a
Yep.
conference championship, they have the head to head matchup. Okay, cool. So they're in, right? So now I'm looking at our case and Florida State's case. So the old college football fan in me was like, the hell with the quarterback situation, they won, right? But the
Yeah.
fan in me is like, okay, screw that. Who looked better? One, in a championship game. Two, who looked better down the stretch? And who's got the better defense, like looking at it. And I'm like, okay, their defense held, Louisville to, lower standard than what Louisville's been playing with. But I'm like, Kentucky just did the same thing and they got worse players than us. So
Mm-hmm.
how good was Louisville? And how good is the offense, right? And then I look at Jalen Milroe. Like that was one of the minuses that people was talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at those two factors. So okay, we obviously got the better on, and we dominated Georgia through the whole game. So I'm like, you can't keep out the SEC champion. You can't. It's the toughest
If
schedule.
you do, it's like blasphemy.
Yeah, like bro, you can't do that. Like, yeah, Texas beat us early in the season, right? Everybody was figuring themselves out in week 2, which is really why I really didn't hold that win to higher standard
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, everybody's figuring it out. If LSU
Mm-hmm.
had one loss and that one loss was to uh, Florida State and they were the SEC champion, You really gonna hold them to that? That team don't have Jordan Travis no more. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
on a neutral field, LSU in that argument would probably be in. So don't try to
Mm-hmm.
make it seem like, oh, it's all about the quarterback, because it's really not, man. It's
Mm-hmm.
not. Florida State was really bad down the stretch, man.
Yeah, they
And
started to kind of crumble.
yeah, man. And I'm like, this is the same argument I had with TCU going into it the year before or last year.
Oh, that's different, but same kind of topic, yeah.
Like it's the same kind of argument, bro.
Mhm.
But they lost the conference championship game, right? Okay, Florida State won, but all of their wins was
Like nail biters.
nail biters. Does that really make you a four best team? In my opinion, no.
Mm-mm.
Like that's what TCU was doing last year. They were skating by everybody: Baylor, Texas,
Kansas
Oklahoma,
State. Oh no,
everybody.
Kansas State they lost that game, but yeah.
And they lost that game. So I'm like, is this team really one of the four best or one of the four
Mm-mm.
most deserving? And I felt like they went with the four most deserving because they didn't want to do it. But this year you had no choice. Because last year you could say, all right, Bama lost 2 games, so they can't be in. And I was like, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I was like, okay. I wasn't really making no big deal about that. I was like, all right, we got 2 losses. Fine, whatever. And we didn't get to the conference championship game either. And we lost to LSU. So I was like, LSU got to the championship game. So I was like, nah, I'm not even mad about that. Don't put them in. But you saw what happened. They got stumped. Now they did beat Michigan, and that's why I'm not too happy. I'm not looking forward to the Michigan matchup the way everybody else is. Because I'm like, dude, they if they couldn't beat TCU and they got way better players than TCU, like, nah, bro. What you gonna do this year with arguably the same team? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not looking forward to that. But my point is, you seen what happened last year, and you can't let down Florida State team in there. You can't do that. You can't. I'm sorry, man. I think this year we got the four best teams. Finally,
Mhm.
the four best. Like, I mean, you could even put like I think Texas is not the best team in the thing. I think they might be the fourth best team, but I think it's close between, Michigan and them. Like, I don't think Michigan has a good team, bro. I don't. I don't. I'm not, and that's not me like talking because we play them in the Rose Bowl. I just don't think they have a good team, man. I mean, they playing really bad teams, bro. Like their schedule is horrible this year. I mean, they really banked on beating Ohio State, right? And if they didn't beat Ohio State, would they really be considered one of the four best teams? I don't think so. I don't think so at
No.
all. So my grand scheme of my rant is that the committee got it right. Tough decision. I'm just glad they had the stones to do it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And look, we're going to 12 teams next year. And what's crazy is Florida State could have avoided this whole thing had they just voted for the 12 this year. Like
Yeah.
everybody, the SEC was ready to go, but the Big Ten, ACC, and the Pac-12 was all like, "Nah, we don't want to go to 12 this year."
Yeah, because they know they don't want the smoke, bro. Because they know they're gonna have about 3 or 4 of us in there. They're not gonna be able to afford
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like literally right now, we're gonna have Bama, we're gonna have Georgia, and we're gonna have Mizzou in there. With maybe Ole Miss, because they right there too. So I mean, 4 teams from the SEC gonna be in there. So you could run the risk of having them
You
SEC.
won't even need those 4 teams. You could put other teams in there. We're right in the picture too, like at 15, 16. We could freaking beat half of them teams too.
Exactly. And
So
the fact
that's the
that
crazy thing.
Jane Daniels might win the Heisman is like, well, they would sneak in because he's the Heisman winner. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's my thing.
Never know.
Florida State really should not blame us for getting in. They should blame their leadership, the ACC commissioner and the
Mm-hmm.
Big Ten and the Pac-12 commissioner, because they the ones that signed off on this before the season started. Like they was like, nah, we don't want to go to 12. But had we been at 12, Florida State would be in, right? You have a chance to prove themselves. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And Mizzou would be in, all the other teams would be in, and we wouldn't even have a conversation about it. But they didn't want
Mm-hmm.
to do it, so now they gotta wait till next year, man. If they do that, because like I said, Clemson ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere. I don't know why people keep sleeping on Clemson for next year, dog. But we'll get into preseason predictions for next season later on. But that's my take on the college football playoff
Mm-hmm.
rankings, man. I think it was right, and I think we got the four best teams, and it's gonna be fun to watch, man. But you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't be a football show if we ain't talk about the Heisman, man. So your boy Jaden Daniels is the front runner coming into all of this. He's a front runner. I mean, you sold me on him. I was a Jordan Travis guy. I felt like he was the story, the Florida State coming back. I felt like he was kind of my dude that I was riding with. But since he's out, you sold me on Jaden Daniels, man. You sold me on him. And I like him, man. I mean, he was tearing our defense up to the point where we had to put some hits on him. Like, yo, you ain't finna be running through our secondary like that.
You about to play QB spy all game.
Bruh, that didn't even work.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, put the two QB spy on him both ways. You know what I'm saying? So, but nah, man, I think he's the favorite, man. But if I had to say, if I had to be on the other side, I think the player that would win it besides him is Michael Penix. I think I think voters are going to anybody that doesn't vote for Jaden Daniels is going to vote for Michael Penix. And they're going to vote for Michael Penix because he's 14-0. He's been lighting it up all year, and his team's in the playoffs, man. So
Mm-hmm.
he's obviously the best quarterback in the playoffs right now. So I think that's going good for him as we trend into the end of the voting process. So I think that's the only player that I think could reasonably steal it from him.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as being the best player, I think it's James Daniels, man. I think it is, man. I think that's the player that's been balling and deserves it, man. Like hands down, man. I just think he was really good, and I'll let you plead his case. But from what I see on the other side, I think it was hands down him.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So, I mean, I've been making the case for this even since before the Florida game. But before I get into that, before this past weekend, it wasn't so cut. It wasn't so clean cut. There was still a lot of discussions about Bo Nix more than likely going to win the Heisman. But I think the one thing that was even before that, he lost the head-to-head to Michael Penix. So that's already a factor in it. But he's still been balling. He's still been putting up big numbers. So everybody's like, okay, cool. All he has to do is ball out against Washington. If he balls out, throws for like 300 yards, some touchdowns, and they win, it's a shoe-in. They're going to give it to him. But I said, if he struggles or if they find a way to lose this game, they will not give it to him
No.
because you're not gonna lose to Michael Penix 2 times in a year and still find a way to get it. He didn't have a bad game, but he didn't have the game that he needed to have. One, you didn't win, and
Yeah.
two, you really didn't light up the stat sheet until you didn't start putting the freaking numbers until at the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, when you had to rally your team back to try to win. Uh, I think Jaden Daniels is the favorite, but the fact that Penix got the head-to-head win 2 times in a row, even though he didn't have a crazy game, I don't see any scenario where he steals it. But I definitely think it's pretty clear cut that he's second place. Like I think Nix was playing better, but the fact that Penix won the head-to-head matchup and he really hasn't played bad all year,
Mm.
I think he's clear cut second. But dude, nobody's doing what Jaden Daniels has been doing all year. And it just feels like it has gotten crazier and crazier and crazier every week. And they're like, oh, well, he's only doing it against Grambling and this and that. And I'm like, no, he's not. So this dude has been doing this against SEC defenses all year. Even the Florida State game, dude, like, didn't play bad against them. just like you said, y'all had to make crazy freaking adjustments at halftime because if Alabama doesn't make a 2 QB spy adjustment, he's running all over them for another freaking 2 quarters, and they're probably not winning that game. And we might be having a different conversation about playoffs right now,
Yep,
dude. I am most impressed with him as a passer. We talked about this in the preseason. We knew he was elite running with the ball, but he even took major leaps running the ball. But my major thing with him in the offseason, and you can vouch for it, was can he just freaking pull the trigger? Just be straight, trigger happy, ready to throw that freaking ball down the field 40, 50 yards. And man,
he did.
that dude was fearless. If he had a guy on a
70,
streak, he's
70,
throwing it up.
like 72 completion percentage.
Dude, I think he may have led the nation in completion percentage, but the fact that he was just fearless, he's throwing up Neighbors or Thomas on a streak, and he's throwing that ball up regardless. Like it's going, and there was no hesitation, there was no second guessing. He's like, nope, I'm putting the ball here, go and get it. And
Yeah,
he was staying in the pocket. But man, he's like, okay, I have to extend the play. Oh, I'm taking off. It This year was a completely different player. Mike Denbrock and that offense of staff completely developed him from a really good runner to an elite runner, and damn near almost the best passer in the country this year. Just going downfield, not even like the little dump off stuff. Man, I'm talking about 20 or more yards downfield.
yeah,
I
man.
think he had the most freaking passes or plays of 20 or more yards out of anybody else in the country, if I'm not mistaken. But man, anytime you can throw for over 350 and run for over 200 yards in a game, dude, like that's next level, bro. Like we haven't seen anything like this. The last time we saw anything remotely close to this was Lamar Jackson. And I don't even know if Lamar's Heisman campaign looked like this. RG3 had an awesome freaking Heisman campaign, and I don't think his Heisman campaign looked like this.
Tebow,
The fact that this team has 3 losses falls nothing on
ain't
him.
his fault.
Imagine if LSU's defense played like LSU's defense did last year. You're looking at an undefeated team probably knocking off Georgia in the SEC championship game. No disrespect to Alabama, but if LSU had defense like they did last year, bro, that's a much different game because we couldn't contain you guys on the run at all. But in retrospective, though, I know I kind of went on a rant, but man, like when you see, regardless of it didn't matter which team he played for, when somebody's playing historically great like this on levels that we've rarely seen before, regardless of what team he plays for, you got to give credit where it's due. I feel like if anybody won the Heisman, it would be Highway Robbery. I feel like it would be a travesty. I think it would be one of the biggest screw jobs in history. I think Penix comes in second. Nix comes in third. I don't think Marvin Harrison Jr. should have even been invited. Uh, Obviously, quarterback play plays into that, but I think that was just kind of like a homage to fans. But I think Jaden Daniels is the favorite. I don't see any scenario where you don't hand him over that trophy at all.
Agreed, man. Agreed. That's why I let you have the floor, man. You complete his case, man. Because, like I said, I just don't. I don't think. I don't think you could. You could justify giving it to Penix, but it still wouldn't be. It wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't feel right giving it to Penix, man. It just wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I just can't. I can't give it to Penix, man. I just can't. I gotta give it to the dude who been hot all year. You know what I'm saying? So I'm riding with Daniels, man. But honestly, man, if I'm really being honest, man, Marvin Harrison might not finish fourth, man. If I'm being honest, I think Jalen Milroe might finish fourth. To be honest with you.
Depending on all them other plays votes, maybe not first place votes, but a lot of them lower class votes, he's definitely going to get some for
Yeah,
sure.
I
I
don't
don't think
think.
Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think Harrison Jr. should even be in the conversation at all.
Nah, not really, man. I just think he's like the
No
best.
disrespect, but
Like I think he just they. I don't even think he's the best receiver this year. Like I wouldn't even pick him to win the Bolitnikoff, to be honest with you.
no, man, that's Malik Neighbors all day. If not Malik Neighbors, you're giving it to dude from Washington.
Yeah, dude from Washington, bro. I'm just playing. 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 I'm
But
just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
I
I
think
give
it's a
it
lot
to
closer to that. He needs some love too, though, man. He's been a baller with
Yeah,
Penix and
Neighbors look
Washington.
nice,
I
man.
think it's between Neighbors and him for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I give it Neighbors and then dude from Washington. But Marvin Harrison, I don't think so, man. I just think, man, the Big Ten is just not good, dog. Like it's easy for you to say, all right, well, we're gonna give it to Marvin Harrison as an invite. But I'm like, dude, no, like no way. It don't make sense to me. Like if you're gonna vote for it, you could have easily just slid Milrow in there. He's not gonna
Yeah, you
win.
could have just put a quarterback in there for all that. If you're gonna put a receiver in there, he's got to like catch for 2,000 yards, especially to even have a chance to win the Heisman this year.
Yeah, especially when it's other dudes that's better than him. It just don't make sense, man. I don't get it. It's like when it's like when they put Aiden Hutchinson in the conversation instead of Will Anderson, who not only led the league, led the country in sacks, tackles for loss, all kind of stuff. Like it made no sense, man. Like no
You remember
disrespect to Aiden
when?
Hutchinson, but
You remember was it when Johnny Manziel won the Heisman, or was it somewhere around there? They invited that freaking quarterback. Was it from Kansas State or whatever?
oh yeah,
That
Calvin.
everybody was kind of like, why
Not
did
Cal.
they do
I want to
that?
say Calvin Klein. No, not Calvin Klein. That's a clothing line. But his last name was Klein. Yeah, he went to Kansas State, but he was good too, bro.
He was good, but
Clown him,
I'm not
bro.
gonna say he wasn't good, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. But that was like the only year, like that was the year that Manziel could win it. Any other year, I don't think he would win it. But he was just balling, dog. Like he was balling,
mm,
and that game he won at Tuscaloosa was just lit,
it
bro.
was nasty.
Shoot, the game, the year afterward, that game was out of control too. Like, dude, we couldn't stop him, man. His little ass was running around trying to grab him
That's
and
my
everything.
favorite college player of all time, bro. Just what he could do.
Agreed, agreed, agreed. I like them, man. I like the Heisman this year, man. I like Jane Daniels winning, and I like Penix finishing second.
Mm.
Third, fourth, and fifth is kind of up in the air. But I think Milrow got some. He gonna get some votes, man. He gonna get some votes because I mean the growth from week one till now is crazy. And I mean if we
And we both believed in him. We both believed him from week one. It's just everybody else didn't want to think. I'm like, dude, you're sitting in a Nick Saban system. You got to sit behind Bryce Young for a little while. You still have some field experience. Like he's got the
yeah, it's
tools
a
to do
whole
it.
different, it's a whole different system, dude. Like a whole
That's what I'm
different
saying.
system. Like Bill O'Brien's not there anymore. Like Tommy Reese made Ian Book a draftable player. You know what I'm saying? And that was my conversation about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here like, yo, if he can turn Ian Book into a draftable player, imagine what he can do with Jalen Milrow, who run like a 4-3 with a cannon, and like imagine that. You know what I'm saying? And I think he can, man. I think Jalen Milrow got a chance to really garner some NFL conversation, man. Like he should really think about it too. Be honest with you, because next year, yeah, he'll be the starter coming in, but I don't know, man. I don't know. We got like a 5-star dude and coming in. Julian Sand is supposed to be like the next big dude.
Yeah,
Like
he's supposed to be the second coming, like from what a lot of people have been saying.
yeah, like he's supposed to be nice, man. But then we got another dude, Dylan Larnigan, who's coming into it, man. Who people was like, if Jalen not the starter, we should just go ahead and give it to the freshman right now. Let's just go ahead and do it.
I
And
wouldn't even just look at it from that, bro. Look at the rest of the conference. The SEC's getting better next year from
yeah,
coaching, recruiting, and you get two big freaking teams coming. So I mean,
yeah. So let's get into one more thing before we get up out of here, man. Let's talk about the transfer portal, man. It's hot right now. So what's your dream scenario for anybody in the transfer portal right now? One
man,
one dream scenario for anybody in the transfer portal.
So one player.
One player that's transfer portal decision could shape college football next season.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go back to the conversation we had. There's a lot of big names, like, and any one of them could completely flip everything over on its head. But man, I'm gonna go back to the guy we've been talking about all freaking year, and that's man. Oh, Ward from Washington State. If he goes anywhere, if he goes to the Big Ten and he goes to the SEC, it's gonna be nasty. And I'm specifically saying if he goes to Ohio State, that's dangerous because now Ryan Day has a really talented quarterback with a very talented receiving core. I know they've lost a lot of guys in the portal. Dude, that's not going to be a problem. They're going to fill
No,
them spots right back up.
no,
Did you get a
no.
dual threat quarterback in a big time team conference like that? Like, that's scary. And even if he doesn't go to Ohio State, let's just say he transfers into the SEC. What if he transfers to an A&M, or if he finds his way at Florida with Billy Napier? And like, that's dangerous, dude. That guy is nothing to play with. If I'm not talking about him, I'm talking about Riley Leonard going to A&M to go back with Mike Elko. I think if that happens, the SEC is definitely wide open next year for sure. Them two together, that's dangerous for sure.
Nah, I get you. I get you. I like we talked about before we got on here. I like Cam Ward to change a lot of teams, man. But if he goes to Ohio State, that can turn the whole Big Ten upside down. I think that's one of
Mm-hmm.
those players like a Cam Newton going to Auburn,
Oh yeah.
like a transitional player, generational talent. Like he's that good. And he could, with those receivers and the defense that took steps forward this year, I think him
Mm-hmm.
going to Ohio State would be crazy. But my pick is Walter Nolan. Walter Nolan is defensive end for Texas A&M that just got into the portal, man. And
Ooh, that's a big one.
he is yeah, really a big player, man. Like one of the top players in his recruiting class. I want to say top 10. He developed into a force off the edge, man. He's fast enough to put his hand in the dirt, limber enough to stand up and blitz. I think everybody in the country that's like, you know, playoff team, you know what I'm saying, type team. Like nobody outside of the top 10 programs in the country or even in the picture. So it's only Ohio State, us, y'all, Florida State, uh
Think Texas.
maybe, maybe Texas. But yeah, I think the he is a player that if you were close this year to making the playoffs, you
Oh,
got
he puts you over the top.
yeah, especially defensively. He put you over the top. Like I think it's a two-horse race, honestly. I think it's between actually three. I say three. I say y'all because I know y'all is really in on this transfer portal thing. I would say us and Georgia. It's a three-horse race. I mean, I throw in Ohio State in there, but I think he's an SEC dude. I don't think he's trying to go nowhere else. I think he wants to play the best and be in the best conference there is. And I think he's an SEC guy, man. If he's looking for an easier route, like not as wear and tear, because he's probably going pro next year, then he probably go to the Big Ten. But I think if he wants competition and to be able to get this NIL money that he's gonna get, because he's gonna get a lot wherever he goes. Uh, I think it's big. He a big time player, man. I think for us, if we get him, he transforms our whole defense right then and there. Like honestly, he's a first team All American on our defense flat out. Because you don't have to tell him nothing. Just go get the quarterback and stop the run a little bit. That's it. Like that's it. And like it's an easy pitch, honestly. It's like, look, you one of the best players in the league in the country, and you're gonna play with potentially the national championship team. So why not? You know what I'm saying? We was already in the race anyway coming out of high school. So I mean, you
Mhm.
go to Texas A&M, to be with the best class ever, but it didn't amount to nothing. So now you're playing with other dudes who was in your class that you can play with that are just as good as you. Why not? You know what I'm saying? And if you go to Georgia, I mean, it's same thing. Like that's why I really only think it's two races, but I'm putting y'all in there because LSU is just like a spot. It's just a good spot, man. I don't know. It's something about LSU, man, that if you're a player, like a good player, like if you're not considering LSU for whatever position you play, even kicker, long snapper, like if you not considering LSU in your top 5 or 10 or whatever, I can't really respect it, man. I can't respect it because it's like this is a spot, man. It's one of the best atmospheres in college football. I mean, one of the biggest brands. I mean, like I don't know. I just if you're a top player and LSU is not there, and distance isn't one of your criteria, like I can't respect it, man. It's just a spot. It's a spot to go. So I don't know.
True.
But I think it's one of those things, man. I think Walter Nolan is like my biggest dude that could transform any team today. You know what I'm saying? But he
That's
gonna
what we
be
need anyway. We have no pass rush. If we have one more guy like the other two, like man, if Wingo's healthy, he's playing. If Smith comes back and he plays well, and you put a guy like that on the defensive line, and you bring in a DC that knows how to run a defense,
man, look, like
and then
dude,
if you go in the next year with a quarterback who can sling it like I think we have, that's dangerous.
man,
That's
I'm gonna
very
be I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think Cam Ward is gonna be courted by a lot of teams, man. But I think if Mizzou can get one of these dudes in the transfer
dangerous.
portal,
If they
man,
bring in any of those top 3, 4, 5 guys, that's trouble.
man, I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you, Mizzou is the spot. And
They're quarterback away.
I really think this bowl game they got against Ohio State is going to be a bigger bowl game than people think.
Oh, if they
Because
win
if
that
you,
game, choo,
you
their
finish the
recruiting
year,
will go through the roof.
you're gonna finish the year probably in the top 5, and going into the transfer portal and in recruiting for the off season, bro. Man, that's a huge recruiting pitch. Not only did they play Georgia tough 2 years in a row, man, look, top 5 finish, man. I'm telling you, that's a spot, man. Don't be surprised if they rack up in this portal, man. I'm not gonna say they're gonna get like everybody, but I
No,
expect
they're gonna
them.
try to pull a Brian Kelly. They're gonna try to get a Brian Kelly and try to fill out a whole freaking like.
Yeah, man. I think that's a destination, man. That's a destination people ain't talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, they
And it's
already
in the
kind
East.
of, yeah, they kind of already like in that third spot within the SEC East. I mean, it's Georgia, and then I would probably put Tennessee second because I think they got a lot of talent. But
I
third
don't know,
place,
bro. I don't know, bro. I think Mizzou. I think Mizzou's too, man.
I'm saying, man, I'll put them in the top 3 in the SEC East, man. I think it's a spot, man. That's a spot that you could really go to. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that it's up north, it's not like southern-ish. You know what I'm saying? It just adds. It's another level of players that you could get. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because it's in the middle of the country. Missouri's like the middle state. So it's like it's not too far from the east, it's not too far from the west. Just travel distance is good for anybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's a spot, man. I'll tell you, I don't know. I'm excited to see what they do with the transfer portal, man. But
Agree.
like I said, man, it's a great episode, man. I like doing this. I think this is a good format for us to really just do, a show, like a show every week. You know what I'm saying? We can pick a day. We can just do just a show, man. A football show. Just talk about, the current events of the week, recap the NFL since that's, what's going, and I really think it would be really good, as we get into later into the off season or Josh Payson. Uh, get into it. Then we get into like recruiting, and then obviously NFL playoffs. Then we get into the college football playoff, things like that. But I think recruiting would be really cool for us to do as far as moving forward. So, y'all look out for that, man. Just we're gonna be trying different things, man. So, but before we get up out of here, man, anything you gotta say, man?
Yeah, man, we really appreciate the support. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss a beat. Check out the community channel. Plenty of shorts, plenty of college content, plenty of pro content. Like I said earlier, if you don't feel like watching videos and you just want to listen to something on the go, check us out on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, all that good stuff. Plug it in on the go if you want to work out, go drive around, whatever you got. But we are truly grateful. Close to 15,000. And like I said earlier, don't forget to check the link in the description for one BetUS. Telling you, got some good promotional things going on. Off the Ball Network. And don't forget to check out the merch on Shopify. I think you guys will really like it. Leave some feedback, some suggestions for some merch. Maybe we can try to get that in the works for you guys. But man, truly grateful. Thank you guys for all the support. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
I couldn't have said it better myself, man. All right, I'm Cam. That's Brandon. This Football Frame My Podcast signing off.